in the day when I was much younger than I am now, when we wanted to use calculators with logarithms, we had only two bases that were possible. If you look at an old scientific calculator, they either have the common log, base 10, or the natural log, base e. So we always needed to have a change of base formula to help us. We're not using calculators. Let me remind some of you of that. So I never want to see a decimal answer from any of you on anything. If you do, I will give you 0. But we still can find that the change of base formula is useful if sometimes we encounter logarithms that don't have a common base. Because if you think about those properties we were looking at, they always had common bases. The change of base formula says that we can rewrite log base a of m with any base. So let's say we're going to have any base, and we're just going to call it b for now. And remember that our base has to be greater than 0 and not equal to 1. So we can write this then as log base b of m all over log base b of a. How do we get that formula? Where does it come from? Well, let's start with this log base a of m, and we're going to call it x. We're going to say this equals x. The first thing we'll do is change this to exponential form. And then we're going to apply a log. And we're going to apply that log base b because we're changing it to any base b. So let's apply a log to both sides. Remember that last property we looked at? Property 8 said if we were given log base a of m equal to log base a of n, we could ignore the logarithms and say m equals n. Well, we started with m equals n, and we applied a log to both sides. So we're using this property in reverse. Now we also have a property that says we can write this power as a factor. So we can write this as x times log base b of a. And of course, if I divide both sides, I could see that x equals log base b of m all divided by log base b of a. So if you don't have the formula memorized, you can always figure it out. Let's do some practice using the change of base formula. We want to change each of these to base 5. So in the first one, we're going to start with log base 5 of 6 all over log base 5 of 3. Notice that the base 3 becomes the argument in the denominator. Why don't you try the next one? I hope you remember that this is the common log. That means it has a base of 10. So we can write this as log base 5 of 7 all over log base 5 of 10. Again, the base of the log becomes the argument in the denominator. And the last one, we can write the natural log as log base e of 15. So if we're changing this to base 5, log base 5 of 15 all over log base 5 of e. So how do we apply this change of base formula then? Look at these two questions. We have different bases. Log base 2 of 6 times log base 6 of 8. And remember that property 4. First of all, property 4 says the bases have to be the same, but also if I have more than one logarithm, I'm adding, not multiplying. So I can't use this property at all here. So for now, I'm going to change everything in the first question to base 10, the common log. That means I don't need to write the base at all. So we have the common log of 6 all over the common log of 2 times the common log of 8 all over the common log of 6. Notice that right away, this allows me to simplify this question. I can factor out log base 10 of 6. And I'm left with log base 10 of 8 all over log base 10 of 2. But I notice that 2 and 8 could be evaluated if I had used base 2. Now, using base 2 still allows me to factor out log base 2 of 6, but now it also allows me to evaluate the numerator and the denominator. 2 to the power of 3 equals 8. 2 to the power of 1 equals 2. This simplified to equal 3. Why don't you try the second question? So again, I first changed it to the common log just so that I could simplify. I saw that I could factor out the common log of 5. And I noticed that if I had used a base of 3, I could simplify what's left. Log base 3 of 81, 3 to the power of 4 equals 81. 3 to the power of 1 equals 3. This equals 4. Those questions take a little bit of practice. Find some of them in your homework or in your e-text.